Don't let this slab of rock fool you. There is a way around it, and oh, the things you will see if you're adventurous enough to follow me. We get to the hike's trailhead by driving up this rocky, dusty, but passable dirt road 2.7 miles to a parking lot at the mouth of Titus Canyon. This can be a popular place on weekends, and there may be a dearth of parking spots. Although on this particular weekend, it's not so bad. My guess is, even on a popular day, most of the people are going up Titus Canyon because it's a lot easier. So once you leave those crowds, you're likely to have the canyon all to yourself, or just with a few other people. After remembering to take out our valuables from the car, we walk toward Titus Canyon and look for the pit toilet. Right behind it is the unmarked trailhead to Fall Canyon. The mostly discernible trail runs west along the bottom of the mountain slopes and is a bit rugged in places. These are the Grapevine Mountains above us. Now, over the thousands of years, they have contributed to the rubble we're walking on, known as an alluvial fan. In this case, it's sediment that has washed down either Titus or Fall Canyon during rare flash floods and spread out from there. It's classic Death Valley scenery. The trail continues along the east or right side of the main wash. Don't be fooled by a less distinct trail that takes us into that wash after only about a half mile. It's not an entirely wrong way to go, but involves a steep drop and then rocky hike up to the canyon. Instead, wait for a quarter mile longer to where the trail runs through a shallow wash and then descends into the larger wash. That's the end of any defined trail, and we simply make our way up to Fall Canyon's mouth any way we feel like it. Okay, another geology lesson. This time, the black dolomite and limestone rocks behind me, known as the Bonanza King Formation. It dates back to the Cambrian era, or about 500 million years ago. And it is some of the thickest rock layers in the national park. We now enter the canyon where, no doubt, all you're going to hear for the rest of the hike is the sound of your breathing and your boots echo crunching over the rock and gravel floor. You know, one of the great things about hiking up a canyon like this is it's virtually impossible to get lost. There's only one way in, one way out. Now, you might be tempted by some of the side alleys around here, but they pretty much don't go anywhere. About 2 miles since we left the parking lot, the canyon begins to narrow and then opens up again. The walls to either side can be as tall as 800 feet. Keep in mind, we are steadily going uphill. Elevation gain in the next 2 miles is about 1,300 feet, although it might feel more gradual than that. By the way, some of the stain-like colors on the rock come from volcanic deposits rich in iron oxides. As we come to the last reaches of the lower canyon, there's this quartzite banding and more dolomite, a sedimentary rock which started forming when this was once ocean and the mountains didn't exist. Finally, the canyon narrows one last time. After 3.2 miles, we come to this 25-foot slab of polished dolomite rock, known as a dryfall. It's been buffed over the years by water gushing over it. On those rare occasions, it becomes a wet fall. That is, water rushing through here during a flash flood. You know, it's scary to think that you could be standing here and all of a sudden a wall of water comes rushing down. Well, at any rate, this looks like the end where we just turn around and go back. But if you backtrack 100 feet, we come to this sketchy but doable bypass that takes us up and over the Dryfall and into some of the best parts of the canyon. The worried about lawsuits part of me wants to tell you this is dangerous and should only be attempted by someone comfortable with climbing and exposure. Here's a handhold. There's another handhold. And up I go. Most of the bypass involves a narrow, crumbly path to the top of the Dryfall, where we may or may not impress those in our group who have stayed behind. From here, we enter a swirling rock world of narrow passages that are the epitome of canyon beauty. You definitely don't want to get caught here during a flash flood. So, my best piece of advice would be if there's even a slightest chance of rainfall anywhere in these mountains, don't even think about coming up here. One little downpour way above us could turn into a massive roiling river, and once it gets squeezed into this little spot, I don't even want to think about it. If I sound like I'm over-exaggerating, on this particular day, there's evidence of rainfall heavy enough to fill this basin. Or maybe it was a flood. As for the canyon narrows, they eventually end, and there's really no reason to continue up through the broader part of the canyon. Kind of boring, actually. So we turn around, and today my friends decide the climb to the upper canyon isn't so bad after all. And they join us where youthful enthusiasm turns the rock slabs into a playground of sorts. After that, time to carefully make our way back down the Dryfall Bypass and simply return the way we came.